The views and opinions on this show do not necessarily reflect the views of ESPN Tucson 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, or the Arizona Lotus Corporation.
Welcome to Spears and Ali on ESPN Tucson.
Justin Spears, I like that.
With Justin Spears and Ali Farhang on 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4, ESPN Tucson. Brought to you by Tucson Federal Credit Union, the Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, and Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
I want to be entertaining, but I'm not stupid enough to compare myself to Ali.
What's happening, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome to Spears and Ali here on ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM. We are on 94.9 HD Channel 4 and streaming live on ESPNTucson.com and the ESPN Tucson mobile app. And also check us out on Apple and Spotify, the Spears and Ali podcast, and YouTube. Find the video version of our great show on Spears and Ali YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and comment today. We are presented by the amazing Volpe team at Nova Home Loans, Rightway Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Tucson Federal Credit Union. We got lots to talk about over the next couple of hours. We've got the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. And then we're going to talk to Bruce Pascoe from the Arizona Daily Star about all things U of A hoops. And what the hell did Steve Smith say about Bobby Wade and Tetairoa McMillan? Steve Smith continues to make himself look like a fool, and we're going to talk about that later on in the show.
What do you mean, continue to make himself look like a fool? Sometimes you're just a fool.
Yeah, that's true.
The guy's just a fool. The guy was a fool when he played. He was good. He was a really good football player. But you ever heard of Napoleon complex, my short little friend?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you have.
Short man syndrome.
Short man syndrome, Napoleon complex.
Mick Cronin's got it.
Right. I mean, some people have shades of it. Ginger shades, one may say.
He's looking at me.
Steve Smith has always had little man's complex. He's had it since he joined the NFL from the University of Utah. Probably before that, when he was playing Pop Warner with the Allegheny Falcons. But I think that he sees a 6'4" receiver. And he's just like, okay, let me hate on this guy because he has attributes that I never had. And I have short man's disease. And he's just like, he's just a very little man. And then to like go after Bobby Wade because of how many teams he played for. I know we haven't gotten there yet, but Steve Smith, shut up.
I know. Yep.
Shut up, dude.
Yep. It's he had a lot of interesting things to say on his latest episode of the podcast regarding T-Mac and Bobby Wade. So we'll talk about that coming up here in just a little bit. And then we got lots to talk about, man. We got, first of all, Alex Ovechkin making history, most goals ever scored by an NHL player. And the fact that it's pretty much like parallel with Wayne Gretzky and like with games played and also the team it was against, right? It was against the Islanders, right?
Yep.
So pretty poetic stuff there from Alex Ovechkin. We'll talk about that coming up at the top of the 8 o'clock hour.
How classy is Wayne Gretzky?
I mean, the great one.
I mean, he's
Extremely.
there. He's there. I mean, like, did he break Gordie Howe's record?
He broke all the records.
No, but goal scored. Because he said Gordie Howe or whoever.
Yeah, I believe it was Gordy before.
Yeah, and he was there. He's like, Gordie was there, and like, records are meant to be broken. And I wanted to be here to celebrate Ovechkin. So he was there with the game tying goal, and he was there for the game breaking goal. And I don't know. I just thought it was a very classy move by the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
And I also think
Mario Lemieux was better, but
well, I also find it interesting that Wayne Gretzky, like, think about it, for the last couple weeks has probably been just following Alex Ovechkin around,
probably
traveling to wherever they're playing. Like, okay, in case this guy scores like 5 goals in a game, I got to be there. And so he's just been following him around. But it was cool.
I just thought it was cool that he was there.
Yeah,
and,
100%.
Basically, like, very much in support of the greatness of Alex Ovechkin and what he was about to do. I just thought it was really cool.
Absolutely. I mean, you want to see the legends pay homage to the people that have come up after them. Like when LeBron broke the scoring record, Kareem was there. And for Kareem to be there, that says a lot because he's been somewhat critical of LeBron over the last several years. And they
Cream pretty much critical of everybody.
That's very true. But
and a lot of the NBA is like, there's like this thing now. It's like, well, they couldn't play in our day, and these guys now, no, they're not as good as we were.
There's no respect. There's no respect at all.
The old and the new thing in the NBA is just like, at least in hockey, or at least I don't know, at least with this situation, Gretzky being there and paying respect for the greatness of Alex Ovechkin. There you go. I thought it was cool. I just thought it was cool that he was there.
All right, we're going to talk more about that at the top of the 8 o'clock hour for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
And he's just a handsome SOB for his age.
Alex Ovechkin?
Gretzky.
Oh, Gretzky. Gretzky.
Handsome
he's a fox, man.
Dude, he's
absolute fox.
That guy. Good looking dude.
Yeah, I was going to question you if you're saying that about Ovechkin.
I was like, Ovechkin looks like a caveman.
Yeah, that dude's pretty as a
you're the
fence.
hockey guy, right?
Sure.
I got bias, right? I'm a Sidney Crosby guy.
Mm-hmm.
In their primes,
mm-hmm.
You taking Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby?
Oh, Crosby.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Because Ovechkin can score. Like obviously he's the greatest goal scorer now in NHL history, but Crosby's a way more complete player.
Right.
Uh-huh.
It's like the Michael Jordan of hockey players, Justin.
Interesting.
And
Is this
Ovechkin's more of like the LeBron.
Is this like a Ronaldo Messi type of situation with Crosby and
literally never do an analogy that you don't from soccer. You don't know what you're talking about.
Messi Ronaldo?
To Messi and Ronaldo is not even close. Ronaldo is great.
Yeah.
Messi's the greatest.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, other than Pele, Messi's the greatest of all time, which my son would disagree. But Messi is Messi is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Pele, I'm like, don't you mean Pella? But that's the Arizona follower in me.
Yeah,
just
but
always trained.
Pella's starting for the Heat, and he's playing some good basketball, man.
He is.
Pella Larson, man, I'm very impressed. For a rookie, what he's doing, I'm just so happy for him.
Speaking of Arizona basketball, lots on that front happening over this past weekend. So Henry Vasar is going to North Carolina.
Yep.
We've already discussed that. We've known about that. And then KJ Lewis, the guard who entered the transfer portal, is going to play for the Georgetown Hoyas. Damn you, Xavier Farhang.
Yeah, you got
and
the
you're
job done.
tampering.
You got the job done. Job done.
Xavier Farhang, Ollie's amazing son, is he's on his path to becoming a badass lawyer, and he's currently at Georgetown Law School. Xavier got what he wanted. He got KJ Lewis to come to Georgetown.
He's got a buddy, man. I was like, KJ will be hanging out with Xavier at Georgetown. But so congratulations to KJ and Henry, man. I'm happy for both those guys. I hope they find happiness and success where they're at, as long as it doesn't come at the expense of the Arizona Wildcats.
Yeah.
But it's good for those guys. I mean, they got I'm sure paid, and they're in a new place and new beginnings. So good luck, and I guess in Spanish, buena suerte to both KJ Lewis and Henry Vasar. Yeah, well, it just means more when I say it in Spanish.
Yeah.
So what's next?
SEC.
What's next for Arizona after losing both of those guys? Because those are some big time losses. But you look at some of the other players that they have coming in. Mo Krivas is going to come back, right? He's going to start at that center spot. Koa Pete is probably going to be your starting power forward. Maybe Carter Bryant decides to come back, and he's going to be your starting small forward. Braden Burries, he's going to be making his decision here very soon.
This week.
And I think this guy who is probably one of the better players out of the state of California, a guy who just played in the McDonald's All-American game, he's going to be coming to the University of Arizona. It would have been nice to see Elijah Arenas, Gilbert's kid, in that mix, but I think Braden Burries is not a bad option as your starting two guard.
I mean,
Braden Burries is one of the top players in the country right now.
If you had most people that are in any way know what they're talking about, with all due respect to Elijah Arenas, Braden Burries is right now a better basketball player. So Arizona, I think, had to choose between one or the other. They couldn't get both. So yeah, I mean, what's next? I mean, there's not much to do because you've just named the starting five. And then you got
Jaden Bradley.
And you got Jaden Bradley at point guard. You got a Toby Owaka who's backing up both Koa Pete and Mo Krivas. And then you've got ADO coming off the bench. And then you got another 5-star and an Aristode coming off the bench. You got Bryce James, who Who knows? And we keep calling him a developmental player, but he could be something. So you really,
yeah, those LeBron genes could kick in.
You really are talking about maybe one guy. We maybe need one guy in the portal as a backup point guard.
Yeah.
There's not going to be much movement for Arizona because there doesn't need to be, which is good because stability and continuity are really good things for a basketball team. Arizona's got that in bunch loads this year. So don't, what is it? John Wooden said, don't mistake activity for achievement. Okay. So just because you're not seeing a lot of activity, don't think that we're not in a good place and, mistaking that for we're not achieving anything. We've actually achieved a lot because most of the guys are coming back and you've added these really great young complementary pieces. So maybe a guy in the front court that can come in and spell Mo Krivas and Toby Awaka if there's, foul trouble, and maybe a backup point guard. That's just about it.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about transfer portal, you're trying to bring guys in and you're telling them you're not going to start, but we may need you in a complementary role. It takes somebody who's got a sense of self-awareness that they're not, that's their role, and selflessness. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know who that could be, but you need like a Justin Kier type.
Yeah.
Yeah. I am going to miss Visar's threes though. Oh my God. A Tommy Lloyd 5 shooting threes.
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Well, don't
just inject that directly into my veins.
Don't sleep on Big Mo, man. Mo can shoot from outside.
Yeah.
And, people are really judging him off of 2 games where, basically he had a crack in his foot and you're like, oh, he's slow and plodding. Mo Krivas is a very skilled big man. And you're going to basically see the same kind of dynamic that you saw this year with Henry Vesar and Toby Awaka, just a little bit different. Toby Awaka was the inside guy. Henry Vesar was kind of the stretch 5. Now you're going to see the big man is going to be Mo Krivas. He's going to be on the block, and the stretch is going to be the 4 and Koa Pete. He's going to be inside, outside. So it's the same dynamic. It's just with a little bit of a twist to it.
Yeah,
totally.
And then Emmanuel Stephan, the redshirt big man who played this past season for Arizona, he's transferring to UNLV.
Yeah,
going to play for Josh Pastner in the Running Rebels. That's a nice addition there for Josh Pastner. Tommy Lloyd's fruit basket gift to the former Wildcat for getting his new gig as head coach. He's like, "Congrats, Josh.
Here's a 7 foot.
Here's a 7-foot guy who could be the next Christian Coloco."
Yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Enjoy that.
We'll see. A lot of Emmanuel Stephan's a boatload of talent, but needs a lot of development too. Like,
true.
Emmanuel Stephan's he's not going to play that much at UNLV. I mean, maybe he will.
No.
I
mean, UNLV. I feel like a guy like him could start at UNLV, or at least come off the bench and have a pivotal role.
Based on what though, Justin?
He's 7 feet tall, and he's freaking not like he's like super like skinny or anything like that.
What does that have to do?
He's got some muscle to him as a 7-footer, right? Like when I look at Christian Coloco's body when he was a freshman compared to Emmanuel Stephan a little bit farther ahead. I
mean, you just got a tape measure out, and that's all you're doing to judge if he's a good basketball player. Does he have any kind of inside game? Does he know how to box out? I'm
not even talking about skill set. I'm talking about just straight up body.
Okay, cool.
And at a place like UNLV, come on.
Is UNLV in a new conference next year?
They're in the Pac-12, Pac-10.
You know so much about UNLV's front court, Ali. Who's starting in front of it?
No, I'm admitting I don't know. I do know that I've gone to more practices than you. I know that I've watched Emmanuel Stephan play basketball. So, I mean, I didn't just go out there and start measuring different things on his body and be like, oh, you got to be the next Christian Coloco. It's a lazy take. It's a lazy.
How is it lazy?
It's because it is.
They got the same exact frame and skill set.
So what? Like,
and Christian Coloco was very raw as a freshman. You're getting so upset because I said he could be the next Christian Coloco.
Because I just think it's lazy. It's like people just say you could be the next guy because you have the same dimensions as him, and you also need a lot of development. You could be the next Christian Coloco. Coloco.
Andrew, remember this during the NFL draft time when he has a bunch of comps for players. Remember that.
From watching them play. From watching them play
too. I'm watching Emmanuel Stephan play.
How much did you watch?
He played in a few games
this year.
He played in a few games
3
this
minutes.
He played more than 3 minutes this year.
And UNLV is staying in the Mountain West. If anyone's curious.
Okay. I think the Mountain West and the Pac are actually in their settlement talks, talking about doing what they should have done in the beginning.
Yeah,
combining, being one conference. They should be one
they
conference.
should have been that the whole time.
Yeah.
All right, before let's take your phone calls here.
They should ally.
719-1490. Oh, the Alliance.
Yeah.
719-1490, 719-1490. That is our studio line if you want to hit us up. We're kind of bearing the lead here. Do we have a phone call?
We do. I'm not sure who it is yet.
Okay.
Give me one moment.
All right. As we get ready to take some of your phone calls here, let's talk about another major story that happened over this past weekend. Like I said, we're bearing the lead here, but Arizona women's basketball head coach Adia Barnes is no longer with the Wildcats. She accepted the job at SMU. She is now the head coach of the Southern Methodist Mustangs. She went from bearing down to ponying up. Bearing down 1 week to ponying up the next. And Adia Barnes, after, a great run at the U of A, taking Arizona to a national championship in 2021, pretty much put Arizona women's basketball on the map. Now, a lot of things have happened since that 2021 season, which we will discuss here in a little bit. But we are taking your phone calls now at 719-1490. Let's talk to Stu right now on line one. What's up, Stu?
All right. Copyright. Who do you think deserves the number 8? Lamar Jackson or Dale Earnhardt Jr.?
Wait, what? Oh, who's the best number 8 of all time?
No.
Yeah.
What Stu's talking about is there was a dispute between Lamar Jackson and Dale Earnhardt Jr. over Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s use of the number 8 because it said it was utilizing Lamar Jackson's trademark and the way he did it. They settled it. So Stu's asking who deserves. If you say number 8, is it Lamar Jackson or Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Who deserves that 8?
Man,
Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah,
I love Lamar Jackson, but I'd say Dale Earnhardt.
None of them. There was only one number 8.
Steve Young,
Kobe Bryant,
Carl Yastrzemski.
Carl Yastrzemski.
Carl Yastrzemski, man.
Yeah.
that's a name pool.
That's a good one.
That's a hell of a poll. Hey, Stu, thanks for calling in, man.
Yeah,
We
appreciate
appreciate
it.
it. That's a hell of a poll.
Yeah, he played for the Boston Red Sox. Justin.
Huh?
Carl Yastrzemski.
I know.
He played for the Boston
Yes, I
Red
know.
Sox.
I know.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else you want to discuss, Ali?
No.
All right. So thoughts on Adia Barnes going to SMU?
I'm going to save it for the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got a lot of things to say about it.
Okay. Well, here's what I will say. Many things can be true. Did Adia Barnes revive this program? Because let's be real here. It was a freaking doormat. When she took over this program, only a couple hundred people would show up to basketball games at McHale Center. No one cared about Arizona women's basketball. And then Adia Barnes comes in, and it wasn't the greatest start. I think they won like maybe 6 games her first year or something like that. So she realized she had her work cut out for her. And then she brings in this great player by the name of Ari McDonald. And all it takes really is one spark to light that whole thing. And Ari McDonald turned into one of the best players, not only in the Pac-12, but in women's college basketball.
Yep.
And she was a great scorer. She was so fun to watch. She brought a lot of people to McHale Center. And that team that won the WNIT in 2019, and they sold out McHale Center in that WNIT championship game, they showed that there can be something here with this Arizona women's basketball program. And then the COVID-19 pandemic happened, so they were unable to go compete in the NCAA tournament. And then 2021 happens. Even though there was COVID restrictions, they figured out a way to get into the NCAA tournament and make a deep run and fall just one basket short of winning a national championship. And then after that, that's when the roller coaster started, because there were some great moments. They beat Stanford. They had some great wins under Adia Barnes, but there was also a constant cycle of players coming in and out of the program. She brought some great players in, don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of players who ended up leaving the program on bad terms. some of that could be a miscalculation on the player, and that is on the player. But I also think Adia Barnes needs to look in the mirror and understand, okay, not everything wasn't my fault, right? Or not everything is how do I explain this?
She needed to take some
She
accountability.
needs to take some accountability for some of the things that happened.
Sure.
While some things aren't my fault, I also need to look in the mirror and realize that, okay, there are some things that I need to change. And so I'm wishing Adia Barnes the best. I think she's going to do great at SMU. I think that Dallas is a much better fit for her than Auburn, Alabama. I think she's going to be just fine at SMU. However, I do wish that things were a little bit different when she left at Arizona, but the program is also in a much better place than when she found it. So,
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
all good points. I just, I think that if you reflect on it, there's some good and there's some bad and there's some ugly. If you think about the tenure of Adia Barnes at Arizona.
we'll talk about that during the good, the bad, and the ugly at the top of the 8 o'clock hour.
Huh.
All right, let's take your phone calls here. What do you guys think about this Adia Barnes situation? What do you think about Arizona basketball in the transfer portal? Hit us up at 719-1490, 719-1490. We're taking your phone calls coming up next. Welcome back. Spears and Ali, ESPN Tucson, 1490 AM, 94.9 HD Channel 4. We were talking about Adia Barnes going to SMU and leaving the Arizona women's basketball program. Let's take some of your phone calls here. What do you think about Adia going to SMU? What do you think about what's next for Arizona women's basketball? Or if you want to talk about anything else happening in the world of U of A athletics, we'd love to hear from you guys. Call in at 719-1490. We got T-Money, our guy, joining us here. T-Money, thank you for your patience. What's on your mind today?
Gentlemen, I don't know about all that stuff, but I just want to know who is a better tackler, Joe Montana or Joe Montana?
Ooh, Joe Montana. Come on now.
Yeah, as far as the D is concerned, I don't know. I mean, I guess you and Lev probably got the inside on all that, but it is super unfortunate. I mean, I don't know how long U of A women's basketball is going to be in the wilderness, or if they'll ever get out of the wilderness after this. I mean, it's just one of those things where I just hope it wasn't some super unfortunate two people couldn't get along and one had to go type thing. If it comes to that, then I think Tucson's going to be pissed. But that being said, as far as I was really going to try to talk about was Duke's epic meltdown.
Yeah.
That I did not see that coming. I turned the game off, and then my sons were like, "Hey, Houston won." That I don't know. I don't know about Duke basketball, but as far as Houston is concerned, and I think it's time to give coach his flowers. Like this dude, I remember him at Oklahoma and them beating us with Nahara and all those guys. Time to give this guy his flowers. This dude can straight up, flat out coach. Best coach in the Big 12.
Absolutely, man.
And I think tonight's game is going to be fascinating because you really have the two most resilient teams in all of college basketball playing each other. Because if you think of Florida versus Connecticut and Florida in their last game versus Auburn, I mean, and then you got Houston, both of these teams refuse to lose. So I'm rooting my butt off for Houston. I don't know how to bet this game. This is the problem.
Yeah.
No, good luck to Calvin Sampson and the Big 12. And I think the Big 12 is kind of regretting letting Arizona and Houston in the door. Okay, Kansas is regretting letting Arizona and Houston in the door. It's going to be a totally different league, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. T-Money,
Thank you.
always a pleasure, man. Thank you.
I don't think they're regretting it from their pocketbooks because Houston winning that game, I'm like, okay, well, I lost some money because I bet on Duke, but the my beloved University of Arizona made some money because they share the revenue and you can make more money as you go along. And if you think about it, I mean, Texas Tech was right there beating Florida, right?
Texas Tech had them on the ropes.
They had them, and I don't like the word choked, but
they fudged it.
They fudged it up, and Florida was resilient and found a way to win. I mean, we were like, I know ifs and buts, but we in an alternative universe, it's Texas Tech versus Houston in a national championship game.
Mhm.
right? So I don't know, man. Like I said, Walter Clayton III for Florida, the guard, dude. That dude can be my point guard any day.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy is
Tough as nails.
incredible. I mean, he had a 3 in the corner against Auburn where he had to like readjust his arm and just because the defender was right there and like perfect form. Walter Clayton is awesome. And then you got Cryer for Houston and Sharp and Usan. I mean, this game is going to be must-see TV because it's two teams that refuse to lose. And, Houston did it this year. They were down 6 to Kansas with 10 seconds to go. Remember that game?
Yeah.
And they forced overtime and won the game. I mean, being down by 9 points or whatever it was with 35 seconds to go.
Yeah.
They went on a 9-0 run in 35 seconds. And, man, that poor guy, what is it? Simone James. What is the number 14 for the Duke guys? Is it Simone James?
Oh, Sion James.
Sion James.
Sion.
Sion. Poor Sion, man. He wanted no part of throwing that ball in bounds. They couldn't get the ball in bounds.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And the thing about Houston and why they have the championship pedigree is like, yes, while you could say that the teams fudged it at the end, but Houston also is so conditioned for those type of situations.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of their players averages like a 5-minute mile, right? Something like that, which is like absurd that every single one of your guys is that conditioned and has that kind of endurance. When it comes down to those final minutes, Houston is like a boa constrictor and they just squeeze the life out of you.
Yeah.
And they're so tough and experienced and they play smart, and Kelvin Sampson can freaking coach his ass off, whether it's a crazy inbounds pass like we saw at the Elite Eight to punch their ticket to the Final Four, or just these end of the game type of situations. They always seem to have an answer for that final minute. And that's why when you talk about you're not sure how to bet this game, is it Golden, right? Their head coach at Florida, Todd Golden.
Yeah.
Great story in college basketball. I think he's going to be great at Florida. But in my opinion, this is the year the Cougars in San Antonio, Texas. I like Houston winning tonight's game.
I hope so, man. And I mean, it's just crazy to me that Arizona saw it firsthand. I mean, I think we kind of had them at McHale, and we had them on the ropes. I mean, we really had them in the Big 12 championship game, but Houston just like at the end of the last 3 minutes, it's like it's Houston Cougar time.
Yeah,
and we couldn't get they suffered, like you said, boa constrictors, perfect. It's like they take the breath away from you on all the air out. I thought it was really interesting that Duke scored 1 field goal in the last 10.5 minutes.
That's insane.
And so I haven't heard this take, and maybe I'm wrong. So you can tell me I'm wrong, Justin. How good would that feel?
Oh, man. It doesn't happen often.
You're right.
Or
it doesn't happen often.
Watch Ali be really right now.
I wonder if this was the first time that we really saw the effect of Duke starting 3 freshmen. Right? I mean, they've had big moments. I don't know if they've played. I don't know if they've had a, end of the game like this, but I wonder when you saw the way Knipple and Cooper Flagg and Malawak, there was a sense of panic in them. And I just wonder if this is the first time that you've really seen freshmen being freshmen in a big situation. As good as they are, would a more experienced team, or not having 3 freshmen, would it have been to their benefit? I don't know. That's
a good point.
Yeah.
Kind of what happened to Arizona with Houston in the Sweet 16, in 2022 or whatever it was. Just a younger team. They had a team of men.
We didn't really have, we weren't younger. I mean, we had Tavelis and Matherin and Coloco. All those guys were coming back. We didn't really have a freshman starting, and
that's true, I guess.
And they were all sick. Arizona was all sick too. Yeah. So I don't know. It seemed to me like in the last, let's say, 5 minutes of that game, I saw a very seasoned veteran man team versus a very talented but very young adolescent team, because Duke was making, like, it's the first time I've seen Duke freshmen start play like a bunch of freshmen.
That's a good point. But the experience by Houston in that's the blueprint in college basketball, even in the transfer portal era and NIL, where you have so much movement when it comes to the roster. One thing that is always constant, having experience, especially in the backcourt with your guards, that's going to pave the way for a championship. Like we were talking about at football practice the other day, kind of like what Kelvin Sampson has built at Houston. Who does it remind you of? And it kind of reminds me a little bit of those Jay Wright Villanova teams.
Yeah.
Just the toughness, the experience. They don't have the, I guess, the quote unquote big names, right? Like Duke got 3 lottery picks on their team, but it was the experience and the veteran of what Houston brought, especially in that backcourt. That's what outlasted in that game. So
I think that's fair. Have you guys ever seen because I saw a play in that game that I've never seen before, which is when the Houston guy knocked the ball out of the Duke guy's hands while he was inbounding it, and it was a technical. I thought the game was over at that point.
Yeah.
You don't remember what I'm talking about?
I was at football practice.
Oh, so Duke was inbounding the ball with like less than a minute to go, and the Houston guy swiped at the ball while he was holding it out of bounds. It's, I guess, a one-shot technical. I've never seen that in any game, and I honestly thought I thought at that point, man, I'm like, okay, so Duke's gonna win. They got the technical, and then again, I feel bad for the kid because I think he's gonna be a first-round pick, but Duke's up by 1. And Proctor missed the front end of a 1-and-1. I mean, that guy was like 18 for 21 to start the NCAAs on 3-pointers, and then like he couldn't hit anything, and then he couldn't make the free throw. I mean, everything had to come into place for Houston to win that game, but it did, and it's unbelievable that they were able to win that game. Down 9 with a minute to go.
Team of destiny. But you can also say that about Florida too, with all the close games that they've been a part of this NCAA tournament. So
we'll see.
We'll see who is the real team of destiny tonight. Join us this month at the Pima County Fair for Pepsi Wristband Day on Wednesday, April 23rd. You can bring in an unopened 20-ounce bottle of Pepsi, zero sugar Pepsi, Starry, or other Pepsi products and receive a $5 discount towards a $40 wristband for unlimited carnival rides and 1 free ride on the Titan. Russell Wilson has ruined the word unlimited because every single time I read it, I hear it in his voice. Wristbands.
That's a you thing. I never think of Russell Wilson when I say unlimited. Yeah, that's a you thing.
Get all the information by going to ESPNTucson.com.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up next on Spears and Ali, we are taking your phone calls at 719-1490, 719-1490. Now that Adia Barnes is out at Arizona, who should be her replacement? I have some names that I'm going to throw out there. Plus, we're also going to dive into some other U of A sports related news. It's a busy weekend in Tucson, Arizona. We'll talk about all that coming up next.
All right, let's do it. How many times in your life has someone misspelled your last name with 2 E's instead of EA? Has that happened?
It has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has happened. But man, if I had a nickel every time growing up, oh, my last name is Spears. Like Brittany?
Yeah.
Like, yep.
Just like your
just like Brittany.
Just like your Emmanuel Steffens comparison to Christian Coloco. That joke is lazy. That's a stupid joke.
I would always respond, no, like the pickles.
Yeah. That's the guy. I was going to say, no, that's just like the sharp pointy thing I'd like to throw on your head right now. But that would have been my response if I were you. That is the same as, oh, what are you eating there? A hamburger? No. What does it look like? A tuna sandwich? No, it's a hamburger.
Yeah.
That is how you doing? Down. I'm living the dream. That's that same guy. Just telling the Brittany joke.
The funny thing is, Ollie did that exact same thing like 2 weeks ago, and he caught himself. I forgot what I was like eating or munching on. I think it was like pistachios.
Oh yeah.
And he just like walked in, was like, oh, pistachios, huh? Wait, hold on. Sorry. Forget
Stupid,
I said that.
Yeah.
Like he caught himself being that guy.
You got a bad taste in your mouth.
It was not a proud moment. It's like instead of like you got a couple of bananas right there. It's like instead of bananas, huh? It's like, hey, that banana looks good. I hope it tastes as good as it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But Captain Obvious guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, lazy take. Brittany, just like Brittany.
Either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Become that guy.
Yeah. I apologize again.
Thank you.
That was not good.
But all right, so Adia Barnes is out at Arizona. She's now at SMU. Ali's going to talk more about that at the top of the 8 o'clock hour. Now, let's say the University of Arizona.
Get your popcorn ready.
The University of Arizona. Oh, it's going to be a good one at the top of 8 o'clock hour. You don't want to miss that. I'm telling you. So let's say the U of A comes up to you, Ali and Andrew, and says, guys, I need you guys to lead this coaching search.
Uh-huh.
I need you guys to give me a list of people that we should contact. Who are you contacting to replace Adia Barnes at Arizona?
I'm ripping Tara Vanderveer out of retirement.
You know what?
Yeah.
Kudos to you.
I mean, if
With
you
an
can
offer she cannot refuse.
If you can do that,
Yeah,
I mean,
for real.
yeah, that'd be great. I mean, I would give an extension to Desiree Reed-Francois, our athletic director. She deserves an extension if she can get her out of retirement.
Yeah.
I mean, look, man, there's a few trusted sources here in town. Justin, you're one of them. I think Jason Shearer is another one. And if Jason Shearer is reporting that Jason Terry is truly interested in the job, I don't think you just give him the job because it's Jason Terry. But if he comes in and he's got a plan and he's organized, and having Jason Terry back on campus coaching the women's basketball team, I think is intriguing to me. It's something you got to look at. So if Jason Shearer's right, which, I mean, let's be honest, Jason's right most of the time, especially when he comes out with stuff like this, then I think that Jason Terry's got to be a very serious candidate for the job. You got to give the guy an interview.
The Jet, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the Jet has coached girls basketball, I believe, at the grassroots level.
Yeah.
So he's
coached at G League. He coached with some.
He's now on the Utah Jazz staff.
Yeah. I mean, he knows basketball. I mean, if I'm sitting down with Jason Terry, it's like, well, listen, it just is. Coaching men and coaching women are different. So do you recognize that? What's your plan? How are you going to recruit? This is what resources you have from our revenue share, which goes into place July 1st. What do you think you can do to get it done? But if he comes in and he's buttoned up and he's got a plan, and I'm like, yeah, you know what? This sounds good to me. I think it'd be a huge thing for not just women's basketball, even men's basketball, to have Jason Terry back on campus here, back in Tucson. I think you got to really look at it. I'm sure there's other qualified candidates out there as well, but that was the one that intrigued me the most.
Absolutely. And Jason, too, he formerly coached at the U of A with Tommy Lloyd.
Yeah.
So there's that connection there. And I feel like the tandem of Jason Terry and Tommy Lloyd working together as the two head basketball coaches at Arizona could be something very special. So, when I saw Jason Terry's name pop up as a guy who's seriously considering the job or wants the job, I'm like, you know what, Desiree, maybe give him a call and hear him out, see what his plan is. Because he could have, like you said, Ali, he could have a plan in place that could really take Arizona to that next level. I put Jason Terry on that list. One name that I forgot who put it out on Twitter, but I was like, you know what? Yeah, go ahead and give him a call. Todd Holtas, head coach at Pima women's basketball. Considering the success that he's had here in town. Now, of course, he has to have a recruiting plan with the transfer portal and all that. Obviously, it's much different than what they were doing at the JUCO level. But think about this: with the current landscape of college basketball, you're pretty much building a new team every single year. That's Todd's bread and butter at the JUCO level because you're replacing players every year or two. So you have a lot of turnover. And yet, despite the roster turnover at Pima is consistently one of the top programs in women's college basketball at the JUCO level. So
I like that.
Todd Holtas, like, hey, just give him an interview, I would say.
Well, you know what is consistent with Todd Holtas's teams is they're good. They play together. They have a good culture. You don't hear a lot of drama.
Yeah.
And so I have no doubt in my mind he could do it at that level if he's given it opportunity. So, yeah, you should have a conversation with him too.
Cindy LaRocque from UNLV.
Well, she's already reaffirmed her.
Yeah, she was like
her loyalty to UNLV. They just signed her to an extension. UNLV moved ahead of the whole Arizona story by re-signing. So she's not coming. So we can move on.
So she did sign an extension. I just thought she put out a social media post saying like, I'm staying at UNLV. That's that.
I mean, usually that is motivated by I got a raise.
but hey, Sean Miller, he was at first like, no, I'm staying at Xavier. Arizona gave him an offer he couldn't refuse, and then he left to go to the U of A.
Yeah, but it's maybe. I mean, look,
she's connected to Desiree, obviously, at UNLV. But I
mean,
don't
look,
think it's
man,
her,
it's like there's so much resources available to support athletics at any university, and you're going to have to prioritize. You can't be good at everything. So I think Arizona is not going to give as much money to its women's basketball team to recruit players as LSU. They're just not. And then there's a whole thing about the, NIL and stuff. And I don't want to get into that because it's part of a bigger story as far as how NIL is going to work after July 1st. You need somebody that can do more with less. So, I don't know who that is. I mean,
Diana Taurasi.
Yeah, I saw you put that out there. If she's interested, you got to have a conversation with her because she is a personality. Now, just because you play doesn't mean you can coach. That goes for anybody.
Hey, JJ Redick.
Yeah, I mean,
worked out for the Lakers. It could work out for UVA.
Yeah, but I mean, you want me to give you all the examples of guys that played, starting with my favorite player of all time, right?
Yeah.
Right? That couldn't coach.
Gretzky couldn't coach.
Yeah, but Diana Taurasi, if she were interested, I would definitely talk to her.
Absolutely,
because she can attract players, just players that want to play around her. I don't know. It's I don't envy our athletic director right now because people are a lot in their feelings right now about Adia, right? And no matter what Desiree does, she's going to be criticized and judged for it. So I don't envy her at all, but I'm hoping for the best.
All right, let's take your phone call, 719-1490. Let's talk more UVA athletics right here on Spears and Ali. Man, lots happened over the weekend. Arizona softball winning their 4th straight series, beating Oklahoma State.
Yeah, baseball taking 2 out of 3 against ASU.
How about that? And
but Chip Hill not happy.
But yeah, Chip Hill's a perfectionist
because we had the sweep, and then kind of our bullpen kind of let us down on Sunday, and he's like he was taking no glee in taking 2 out of 3. He wanted to bring the broom out. But hey, man, Arizona baseball again, ASU and Arizona. This thing where they're in and out of the top 25, and it's like, between 21 and 25, depending on the series over the weekend. East Coast writers that vote on this, they're not watching. These guys, Arizona and Arizona State are top 20 programs.
Absolutely. Big series for the Wildcats, now moving ahead in the Big 12 standings. Before we go to hour number 2 and get to what is going to be a juicy, good, bad, and ugly for all three of us here, to begin hour number 2. I just want to, pay homage and pay tribute to a man who is an absolute legend in Tucson, Arizona, in Ced Dempsey, the former Arizona athletic director who passed away over the weekend. Cedric Dempsey was the Arizona athletic director in the 80s, 90s. But man, if you look at the hires that he made, Mike Candrea, the greatest softball head coach of all time, the greatest volleyball coach in U of A history in Dave Rubio, Frank Bush, the 6-time NCAA coach of the year, the man who coached a lot of Olympians for Arizona swimming and diving. And then, Ali, you talked about it in the commercial break, the ultimate mic drop coach hire of all time at Arizona, Lute Olson, the man who brought water to the desert and put Tucson, Arizona on the map. When you talk about Tucson, Arizona basketball is one of the first things that comes to mind. And the guy, Ced Dempsey, he was the one who made that happen by making the hire in 1983.
Yeah, he also hired Ben Lindsay in 1982. Before that, it was 84 for Lute Olson. 83 was Ben Lindsay, and said basically he had the strength and self-awareness to say, I made a mistake. I shouldn't have hired Ben Lindsay. And then he and some other boosters got on a plane after the Final Four in '84, and they're like, we're not coming back unless Lute Olson's on this plane, and they made it happen. More than that, Ced Dempsey was a true gentleman and true class. Head of the men's basketball committee, definitely got Arizona a few higher seedings than they maybe they deserve. So Ced Dempsey, RIP, the Dempsey family, Arizona legend.